Hello, hello, hello. You are most welcome to another live session. Well, we're going to be reviewing this great book titled Think and Grow Rich. Good evening, Azizat. How are you doing today? Good to have you here. And thanks for being early. All right, so we're going to continue with the review of this book, Think and Grow Rich. Let me sit well. Let me relax. Okay. Just a moment there. All right, people. I hope your day has been good. I hope you're well. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Mr. Bakari. You're welcome. Mr. Bakari, are you GTech? The names that I'm familiar with are quite different. Good evening, Peace. You're most welcome. Oh, okay, fantastic. Because I was just thinking this morning that, oh, did I see GTech? Then I remember that the names are different from the other platform. Yeah. Okay, cool. Did anybody read this book? Let me know in the comment section, please. Oh, good evening, Hawa. You're most welcome. Did anybody read this book? All right, people, this is the book we are reviewing, Think and Grow Rich. And yesterday we started chapter 1, The Power of Thoughts. And we looked at the story of the man who thought his way into partnership with Thomas A. Edison. His name is Edwin C. Barnes. You know, he wouldn't give up. He left where he was to go to New Jersey to meet Mr. Edison. He didn't have tea fair. He didn't know Mr. Edison. He didn't have any influence, no connection. But he had one thing, a definite purpose. He was determined that he was going to become Mr. Edison's partner. And that actually happened. Yes, my day has been good. Very hectic though, but it's been good. Immediately after this live session, I'm going straight to bed. I feel a bit tired, but then we have to do what we have to do. Thank you so much for asking. So today we're going to continue with the story that says 3 feet from gold. It is still part of chapter 1, The Power of Thoughts. And it starts by saying, one of the most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat. Every person is guilty of this mistake at one time or another. If only we knew how close we were to getting that breakthrough, we wouldn't have, quit for any reason. But because we don't know, we just give up at one point, and God is looking at us that, if only she had just endured for 2 more days. If only he could just, make one more move. But we don't know. That was what happened in this story. There's a man called R.U. Darby. He later became a very successful insurance salesman in America. So this guy told the story of his uncle. There was a time that was referred to as, the gold rush days, when people had gold fever, people were discovering gold. And this is uncle, the uncle of R.U. Darby, also had this gold fever and wanted to go and dig out his own gold. In his own case, he wanted to dig to dig and grow rich, right? So instead of tapping into the brain of an expert, a mining engineer, somebody who is familiar with digging gold, mining, and all of that, he wanted to do it on his own. He was actually very determined. So he picked up his shovel and then he went west to go dig out gold. And thankfully for him, after weeks of labor, he was able to come across a very valuable mineral known as ore, O-R-E, right? From which we can extract metal and other valuable items. So he was rewarded. It was a shining ore. So he quickly covered up the ground, ran back home to tell people that, he had found something after weeks of hard labor. Everybody was excited. This guy is going to become so rich. He's going to become a millionaire. But then he needed a machinery in order to be able to dig out this ore. But he didn't have money for that. So people were so excited to contribute. After all, this was a very, very good prospect. Once he was able to dig this, he would pay back everybody's money and even give them extra. So they all contributed. Don't forget that I was the uncle of this RW. So this RW was actually the one who spearheaded this, told people, because of people's trust in him, they contributed the money. And they ordered the machinery and had it delivered. Good evening, Mr. G. Ade Africa. Good to have you here. So they ordered it and had it shipped. It was delivered to them. So they went to the site where his uncle was digging, and they were able to dig out the first set of ore, put it in a car, took it to a smelter. They made some money from it. It was one of the richest mines in Colorado. They made money from it, and they were so optimistic rather, that once they were able to dig out more, they would pay off all the debts. Everybody that contributed money for them to buy that machinery, they will pay off all the debts, and then whatever they will start seeing afterwards will be their profit. But after this first trip with the ore, they went back to where his uncle was digging, and then there was no sign of gold or ore or anything like that in sight. They digged for a while, but the vein of gold had disappeared. It looked as if there was no more hope. They had run out of luck. They drilled on desperately, trying to pick up the vein again, all to no avail. They didn't see any gold or ore in sight. And finally, they decided to quit. They decided to give up. And that was exactly what they did. They couldn't persist anymore. So that machinery that they bought, it must have been very, very expensive. From what I read here, the amount is not mentioned, but it must have been very expensive. But they sold it for just a few $100s to a junk man, people who would buy scrap. They sold it to one of them, at least. Let us just be able to recover some money. And the author said junk men are usually dumb, right? They'll just buy scrap, buy junks, and that is it. But this particular junk man that they sold the machinery to was not dumb. He looked at it, and then he decided to call a mining engineer to look at the mine and to do a little bit of calculating. So they went to that spot where Darby and his uncle had been digging, and the engineer immediately noted that the project had failed because the owners were not familiar with the fault lines. They were not familiar with mining of gold. Please take a moment to like the live stream. Thank you. That they were not familiar with it. And the engineer said by his calculation, it showed that the vein will be found just 3 feet from where the Darbies had stopped drilling. They were just 3 feet away. And this was exactly what happened. They only had to dig 3 feet. So this mining engineer and the junk man, they digged 3 feet. Imagine them doing very, very little work, putting in very little efforts. The people that did the majority of the work or the most of the work, they had given up, not knowing how close they were to hitting gold. So these guys only did very little, and they made millions of dollars from the mine because they knew enough to seek expert counsel before giving up. So this is a big lesson. Before you give up on anything, don't try to say, oh, I'll try and figure it on my own. No, you may have to pay. And this is where a lot of people make mistakes. They don't want to pay. Won't you rather pay $1,000? One is what taking my yes. Won't you rather pay over $1,000 to make $1 million than to say, oh, I'm going to stick it out, I'm going to figure it out on my own? You don't want to pay a coach, you don't want to pay a mentor, you don't want to pay somebody that is knowledgeable at this thing that you're trying to do. It's a very big mistake, right? So it is better to pick up the brain of people than to sweat it out, and at the end of the day, we label. Remember what we read. Is it not from this book? Or is it from Rich Man? No. Is it from is it from Rich Dad, Poor Dad? I can't remember precisely. It talks about this same thing. There are people who have cracked the code. Yes, it's from here. It's from here, I remember. There are people who have cracked the code, who have gone ahead of you, who have failed and later succeeded. So they know some formula, they know some secrets. You may want to tap into their brains. Ask them what they know. Nothing good comes easy. That's it. You may have to drop money to get money. All right. And that was it. RW he had to pay back all the money that his uncle borrowed. He had to pay back, although it took him years. But then he later became a very successful insurance salesman in America because he learned a lot from this experience that he had with his uncle. He remembered that they gave up too quickly. Good evening, you're welcome, you're welcome. Right, I want to read this part. Remembering that he lost a huge fortune because he stopped 3 feet from gold, Darby profited by the experience in his chosen work. His simple method was to say to himself, I stopped 3 feet from gold, but I will never stop because men say no when I ask them to buy insurance. Good evening, Dinky, you're welcome. So when he founded his own insurance company, he said to himself that even if people say no to him, he's not going to give up. And that was exactly what he did. He owes his stickability to the lesson he learned from his quitability in the gold mining business. They say once beaten, twice bold, right? That was exactly what happened to this guy. But thankful enough that he was able to learn. There are so many people who never learn from failure. And that is the truth. I hope we are not one of them. Hi, Abiodun, you're welcome. Good evening. I hope we are not one of them. More than 500 of the most successful people America has ever known told the author their greatest success came just one step beyond the point at which defeat had overtaken them. I really want us to tap into the spirit of this book, truly. I don't want us to see it as just another book. If you have taken the time and the pain, the sacrifice to be here, I really want you to be open-minded. I want you to pick something. I want there to be a kind of passion and hunger inside of you, because this is exactly how I'm feeling right now. I don't want us to read this book and remain the same. We've read 2 books before now. We've reviewed them. But I really want you to see this from a different light. Don't see it as just another book review. See it as transformation. See it as change. See it as power, because truly this is what it is. We are picking the brain of the author and so many other people that he had interviewed to just, have the remaining years we have to live on earth to be successful. Failure is a trickster with a keen sense of irony and cunning. It takes great delight in tripping one up when success is almost within reach. That is failure for you. If only everybody knew how close they were like this to success, to breakthrough, who would have given up? Nobody. Nobody would have given up. And that is why we keep saying, never give up, never give up. Anytime I hear that word or I see it somewhere, it re-energizes me, never give up. Some people would even say, now we'll give up, now you mess up. Like seriously, that is what it is. Look at the story of RW and his uncle. They gave up just 3 feet away from gold after digging desperately, putting in so much hard work, weeks of hard labor. They gave up. I'm going to read another story still in this chapter 1. A 50-cent lesson in persistence. Shortly after Mr. Darby received his degree from the University of Hard Knocks and had decided to profit by his experience in gold mining business, he had the good fortune to be present on an occasion that proved to him that no, N-O, does not necessarily mean no. So it happened that this is uncle who had failed in the gold mining adventure, went back to his farm where he would grind wheat in an old-fashioned mill. And on this particular day, as he was grinding meal, Mr. Pt.2 was there as a young man, assisting his uncle. They were grinding meal. Suddenly, the door opened, and a little child, a girl, came in. And Mr. Darby, who was known to be hot-tempered, shouted at this girl, "What do you want?" And the girl said, "My mommy says send her 50 cents. 50 cents is half of $1. My mommy says send her 50 cents. And this guy, Mr. Darby's uncle, shouted, "I will not do it. Now you run home." Hello, Solomon Ability, you're welcome. Now you run home. Guess what the girl did? She said, "Yes, sir." But she did not run anywhere. She remained there. So this guy carried on grinding wheat, not knowing that this girl was still there. Not until he looked back and was so shocked that, I thought I said you should run home, and you said, "Yes, sir." And then this time around, yelled at the girl, "I told you to go on home. Now go, or I'll take a switch to you." The girl still nodded, "Yes, sir." But she did not move. She did not budge an inch. And at this point, this guy picked something, moved towards the girl in anger. You know. And just as he was about to get to the girl, probably hit her or something, or just scare her, the girl quickly stepped forward a little bit, looked into his eyes, and screamed at the top of her shrill voice, "My mommy's got to have a 50 cents. I wish they told us the age of this girl, but I'm just trying to figure out that she would be around 5 or 6 years old, right? My mommy is going to have a 50 cents. No, let me read it exactly how it is here. My mommy's got to have that 50 cents. So the uncle looked for a minute. I'm sure he was beyond shock. Put what he was holding down, put his hand into his pocket, and bring out $50 and gave it to her. That was a very big lesson. This girl took the money and ran off. But Mr. Darby had a very curious mind. He had an inquisitive mind. And he started asking, how did she do it? What happened to his uncle that caused him to lose his fierceness, his anger, and became as docile as a lamb? What strange power did this child use that made her master over her superior? These and other similar questions flashed into Darby's mind, but he did not find the answer until years later when he told me the story. As in when he told Napoleon Hill, the author of this book, the story. But then they said we're going to find out about this power in the 13 principles that are shared in this book, and I am looking forward to them. The answer to this question will be found in the principles described in this book. The answer is full and complete. It contains details and instructions sufficient to enable anyone to understand and apply the same force that the little child accidentally stumbled upon. I am guessing it is the force of persistence, the force of not giving up, the force of being resolute, to say it is either I get it or I get it. It is either I succeed or I succeed. I'm guessing so, but I don't want to guess too much. Keep your mind alert and you will observe exactly what strange power came to the rescue of the child. You will catch a glimpse of this power in the next chapter. Somewhere in the book, you will find an idea that will quicken your receptive powers and place at your command for your own benefits. This same irresistible power, determination and courage in that little girl. Yes, I say the same thing too. Determination, courage, resilience, persistence. Exactly. These are all synonyms. Thank you for that, Azizat. The awareness of this power may come to you in the first chapter. It may flash into your mind in some subsequent chapter. It may come in the form of a single idea, or it may come in the nature of a plan or a purpose. Again, it may cause you to go back into your past experiences of failure or defeat and bring to the surface some lesson by which you can regain all that you lost through defeat. You may want to start casting your mind back of your experiences of failure, those things you have lost through defeat, the times that you were not persistent, that you were not courageous enough, that you easily chickened out just because somebody rejected you, just because they gave you a no. And then that was it. You packed it up. After I described to Mr. Darby the power of unwittingly The power unwittingly used by the little child, he quickly retraced his 30 years of experience as a life insurance salesman. He frankly acknowledged that his success in that field was due in no small degree to the lesson he had learned from the child. Imagine Mr. Darby using the lesson from this child. I mean, we wouldn't have been shocked. This small girl, look at the way he just turned a fierce-looking man into a docile lamb. Mr. Darby made use of this experience to become one of the most successful insurance salesmen in America. Mr. Darby said, every time a prospect tried to bow me out without buying, as in buying life assurance, he was selling life assurance, I saw that child standing there in the old mill, her big eyes glaring in defiance. And I said to myself, I've got to make this sale. The better portion of all sales I have made were made after people had said no. So just because somebody says, oh, I'm not buying, and then, okay, you go. This is not the case with this man. I hope we are picking something. You have to be persistent. At least let's still hang on to that one for now. The power of being persistent, of being determined, of being courageous. He said the best sales that he had made were those that came after somebody had told him no. He recalled to his mistake in having stopped only 3 feet from gold, but he said that experience was a blessing in disguise. It taught me to keep on keeping on. You must keep on keeping on. You are not seeing results. Keep on keeping on. A customer said, no, I'm not buying. Keep on keeping on. You may leave him for a while to go and meet another customer, but you won't cast him out of your mind. You are only giving him some time to process the thoughts. You will still go back to him, re-strategize, present it to him in another way. You have to keep on keeping on. He sees rejection, no, as redirection. I love that. You redirect, you re-strategize. You have to keep on keeping on, no matter how hard the going may be. We are picking up this now. You see, they have already prepared our minds that the going may be hard, but you keep on keeping on. A lesson I needed to learn before I could succeed in anything. Before you can succeed in anything, you must learn to be persistent, to be determined. You must resolve within yourself that there is no going back. There is no giving up. All right. I'm moving slowly towards the end. Yeah. Life is strange and often imponderable, as in life can be so difficult to figure out. Both successes and failures have their roots in simple experiences. Mr. Darby's experiences were commonplace and simple enough, yet as they held the power to his destiny in life, they were as important to him as life itself. Every experience that we have in life are as important to us, or is as important to us as life itself. Because if we pay enough attention to them, there are lessons to be picked from them that we need for the next level. Unfortunately, many of us don't even pay attention to them. Once they come, we discard them, we may wallow in pity, we may cry, we feel bad, and then we don't even ponder on them anymore to say, what did I do wrong? What did I not do right? What can I do better? He profited by these two dramatic experiences. The first experience, giving up 3 feet away from gold, and the second experience, that of this child, who would not give up until she collected her mommy's 50 cents. But what of the person who has neither the time nor the inclination to study failure in search of knowledge that may lead to success? I like this. Many times we study success. Oh, I did well there, I did well there. And then we're looking for, okay, this is what I did that made me to succeed. But we don't go back to look at failure. Why did I fail? Why did this thing not succeed? You started a business, it failed. You didn't sit down to say, why did it fail? We oftentimes focus on success. Oh, yes, I got it. I only revamped my CV. I only studied. I passed that exam. I prepared for the interview, and then I did it. I got the job. The ones that did not get the job, do you often go back to say, what did I do wrong? Study it carefully, because it often leads to success. All right. In answer to all these questions, this book was written. The answer called A Description of 13 Principles One sound idea is all you need to achieve success. One sound idea. The principles described in this book contain the best and most practical ways and means of creating useful ideas. Life is strange and often unexplainable. Salesperson is going to jump and not giving up and keep trying. Yes, that's right. Please, before we go any further in our approach to the description of these principles, we believe you are entitled to receive this important suggestion. I want you to listen. Listen to this. When riches begin to come, they come so quickly, in such great abundance, that one wonders where they have been hiding during all those lean years. Good evening, Mr. Kolawole. When riches begin to come, they come so quickly. They come in abundance, and you start to wonder, where have you been? Why did you make me suffer so much before coming? But do you know what? That the riches did not just come that day. They didn't just come suddenly. They come as a result of what you have been doing over time. Those things that you thought were not making sense. Your business that you thought people were not noticing. But then you keep on putting the work. You keep on showing up. You keep on doing good. You keep on working hard. So to people, they'll be like, oh, I used to know him. All of a sudden, he just became rich. All of a sudden, from nowhere. No, it is not from nowhere. It is not all of a sudden. It is as a result of your little effort, step by step, little drops of water, the hard work, the persistence, the sacrifices that you have been making. So only you will understand. Even you will not fully understand, because once your status just changes, all of a sudden, you will not even be able to cast your mind back to say, most times you'll be engulfed or engrossed in that success, in that excitement. But nothing is sudden. Nothing is sudden. That's what I believe. When you begin to think and grow rich, you will observe that riches begin with a state of mind, with definiteness of purpose, with little or no hard work. You and every other person ought to be interested in knowing how to acquire a state of mind that will attract riches. I spent 25 years in research, analyzing more than 25,000 people, because I too wanted to know how wealthy men become that way. Our state of mind is very important. I posted a video, was it not yesterday? As good as that video was, and everybody was saying, thank you so much. This is an eye-opener. I'm so blessed. God bless you. Thank you. I never thought about it this way. Oh, thank you, doctor. Do you know one person? I'm not even surprised anymore, because I've come to realize that no matter what you say, one person still said, it is easier said than done. I can't even remember the remaining part of the comment, but I remember this one. It is easier said than done. Well, it's not the first time somebody would say that. When you say something, it all boils down to the state of your mind. If you don't have the right mind, in fact, let them put $10 million in front of you. You will see it as money. You will squander it. You will misuse it. And then you will come back to being broke. Yes. If somebody tells you that, you can make money this way, this is easy, and they share facts with you, not fictional, they share facts with you, step by step principles. This is how I did it. This was what I did. This is how I made it. If you also do the same thing, you will get it. You will become successful. You will still see somebody whose state of mind is not right that will say, it's a lie, you didn't do it. Maybe you just bribed your way. It's all of them to try it, to open up. So this is where I'm going. I need the state of your mind to be right. Because if the state of your mind is not right, it's going to be very, very difficult for everything we're reading here, reviewing here, to really penetrate, and for you to get the most out of it. Just like as an electrician in a theater raises the light so gradually that darkness is transmitted into light before you realize it. If I switch off this light now, it's going to come within the twinkle of an eye, unexpectedly, suddenly. That is the same way that fear in the minds of people gradually fade away and become faith. And it can come just by what I'm saying, or by you just making up your mind that no, I'm not going to fail anymore. I don't want to be poor anymore. That is it. Just when you switch off light, darkness turns into light. Or you switch it back off, light turns into darkness. The same way there can be a transition in your mind. If you are open enough, if you are receptive enough, it is as simple as that. As soon as you master the principles of this philosophy and begin to follow the instructions for applying those principles, we are almost done. Your financial status will begin to improve. Everything you touch will begin to transmute itself into an asset for your benefit. You think it is impossible? Not at all. Sadekunle says we need to be brainwashed for success. Yes, just like they will brainwash us, the other way around. I agree with that. Do you think it is impossible that the principles of this book can change your financial status? The author says not at all. It is not impossible. One of the main weaknesses of mankind is the average person's familiarity with the word impossible. He said one time he bought a dictionary. The first thing he did was to go to where that word impossible is, and he tore it out. He didn't want to see it. And he's saying that we can also do the same. Say out that word impossible. Impossible is nothing. It is only in your mind. Some people have even helped us to coin it better into two words. I am. The first I am possible. Am possible. So it saw out that word impossible from the dictionary. So an average person is too familiar with that word impossible. Once we say anything, it's impossible. It's easier said than done. They've come again. All these motivational speakers. And that thing is like a stronghold in their minds. It's an obstacle to their success. An average person knows all the rules that will not work. He knows all the things that cannot be done. This book was written for those who seek the rules and seek the rules that have made others successful. Those who are willing to stake everything on those rules. Success comes to those who become success conscious. Failure comes to those who indifferently, nonchalantly allow themselves to become failure conscious. The object of this book is to help all who seek it learn the art of changing their minds from failure consciousness to success consciousness. This is where we're going to stop tonight. I hope you are success conscious. I hope you are ready. If you are ready, let me know in the comment section. I am ready, because every night that we come together, we have to remind ourselves that we are truly, truly ready for this. Every day, every minute, every second, this is your takeaway. Every day, every minute, every second, be success conscious. Be success conscious. Be success conscious. If you are success conscious, you will easily recognize opportunities. And that is the truth. If you're always thinking of success and somebody comes to you, can you supply shares? You are not a furniture maker. You immediately say yes. You immediately remember that you have somebody who is very good at making furniture. And then you quickly contact that person. And boom, you get the contract, you supervise it, and that is it. Be optimistic, open-minded, have a growth mindset. Yes, I am ready to. This is where we're going to stop, and I'm leaving you with this. Be success conscious. If you are success conscious, you will attract success. If you are failure conscious, you attract failure. But I trust that each one of us will be success conscious. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to come together again tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow is Thursday. By God's grace, we come together every day except Sunday, 9:30 p.m. Nigerian time. All right. Don't forget to like this video. Don't go without liking it. Subscribe to the channel if you are not yet subscribed. I remain Olaide Agbaje, and on this channel, I inspire you to live intentionally. All right, people. I'll come your way again tomorrow. Take care. Stay blessed. Bye-bye. Yes, that's it. I am ready. Fully ready.